What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your man of fire himself, Halfpint, once again, and today we're going to be talking about how we did the D20 only run for Cursed Halo. That's correct. We played all of Cursed Halo with only utilizing the D20 grenade. If you want to, have that link down below so you can check out the run for yourself. But with that being said, we're here right now talking about how we completed the run this time. But before we get too far in the video, I do want to say this video is sponsored by Neba. There's some excellent people where you can get discounted games for any platform of your choice. So be sure to go ahead and check them out so you can, I don't know, reward yourself for a long, hard week and get yourself a great game. Go check them out. You're up a small content creator like me when you go through checkout and use the secret password Halfpint. It's a great plan. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and set down a couple of ground rules for how we did the D20 run. First up, with the exception of melees, we only used weapons inside of the D20 grenade, obviously. However, this also included enemies that spawned from the D20 grenades that lost their weapons. This also applies to vehicles. Some missions, such as 2 betrayals, requires the use of vehicles like the Banshee halfway through. However, having the player kill with these vehicles is prohibited. This does not apply to the Marines. Plasma grenades could not be used during the playthrough either. This makes for some interesting obstacles such as blowing up the engines on the final mission, but we'll talk about that shortly. Most importantly, we played on normal difficulty, not just due to the random nature of the D20 grenades, but the unpredictability of Cursed Halo as a whole. If you guys do want to see a legendary run of the D20 only playthrough, I'm gonna be a little sad about it, but be sure to let me know down below and we can see if we can go ahead and tackle that mission as well. We first started off on the Pillar of Autumn. Actually, I'm just kidding. The Pillar of Autumn doesn't have any D20 grenades when it comes to Cursed Halo. So we actually started on the mission Halo. When starting the mission, you're already inside of a drop pod with plenty of D20 grenades. So once you walk out of there, abuse those D20s on the ground until you can get yourself a good grenade to give you some good weapons for the rest of the run. That's all you really need. In my case scenario, I got the dual pistols and a now energy drink, which, by the way, most people don't know this, but if you hold down the button long enough on there when you're full shields, it'll give you an overshield as well. Totally worth it for this playthrough. We utilize the weapons that we currently have from these D20 grenades to go help and save the Marines. There's also some D20s in this area as well, so it was able to help us out a little bit in case we need some brand new weapons. By the time we helped save the Marines, the Warhog dropped, which was actually the Warhog sedan, so it had a lot more seats inside of it. We were able to pick up more Marines and utilize this to pick up more Marines throughout the course of the mission as well. Now here's the kicker. As long as we're not running into enemies with the Warhog getting kills for ourselves, the Marines are the ones getting the kills, and they are entirely welcome to do so. We're just transporting them from here to there, and they may or may not be getting some kills along the way. With that being said, that basically wraps up the mission. As you get to each sector of more Marines, you save them, you pick them up, you put them in your sedan, and you guys launch off to the next area until the mission's over. Up next, we had Truth and Reconciliation. We started with a few bad runs with Lady Luck, but eventually got a decent run when we received the fuel rod and used this to push straight through the first battle. The first battle didn't even matter, we just skipped straight through it. This negated the second set of troops from spawning in that first encounter, as well as just not even messing with the enemies. We don't have to waste any ammo there. The second area was littered with D20 grenades on the ground that we could use to get a good setup and utilize that to go through the rest of the mission. Luckily for us, we were able to get ourselves a miniature Warhog to push through the rest of the ground encounter until we got to the final area where the lift was at. Once we got to the final area, we cleared out the enemies, had a few more Marines spawn in, utilized more D20s, got some good weapons, and went straight up the lift. After boarding the ship, it's pretty straightforward. Just kill, kill, kill. There's nothing really different here. You got a couple D20s in that first room that'll help you out a little bit. The big problem comes in when you get to the hangar room. Once you get to the hangar room, you're gonna have a few problems. Although you'll have a few D20s on the ground, you're gonna have some enemies above you, as well as plenty of enemies surrounding you and the Marines. These guys can very easily kill the Marines. You probably won't even be able to save them, if I'm being entirely honest. But as long as you use the D20s to get some good weapons, you'll get past this section just fine, be able to push straight up into the control room. Right before you enter the control room, there's more D20 grenades you can pick up, so you can just push through straight there. There will be even more that spawn within the brigs as well, and from that point you just got to escort Captain Keyes outside of the mission. Here's the problem though. Captain Keyes, as well as his crew, like to throw D20 grenades. Once you have Captain Keyes and it's time for you to escort them outside of the ship, you need to ensure you get to the encounters before the Marines do, because once they do and they're at a big enough distance, they will throw D20 grenades, and that will jeopardize you as well as Captain Keyes, which can end the mission by dying. So be sure to play it safe and get out of there alive. At this point, it's just about keeping Captain Keyes alive until you get to the final encounter, and then you finish the mission. But with our case, when we finished the mission, it had a little bit of a twist.
I tried. What? What? What?
When starting the mission Silent Cartographer, we immediately ran to the left side after exiting the Pelican. We would take this path straight to the pile of dead Marines with, guess what? More D20 grenades. We use this to our advantage to push through all the way up to the gate that opens the locked door for us to get inside the Silent Cartographer. Once exiting this building, we went to the downed Pelican, picked up the miniature Warhog for speeding purposes, but no killing, and used this to get to the Silent Cartographer. Once you got to that building, clear out all the enemies in here. Get them all out of there. All of them. Every single one of them in that building. Inside of that building, before going down, and outside that building. Once you've done that, in the front side of the Silent Cartographer building, you will see an overshield on the beach. Pick that overshield up and go inside the building. Once you're inside of there, go to the right side where you have the giant abyss at, where the little cutscene activates. And you're going to use this to do a little bit of a speedrunning technique, which we'll see performed right here. This speedrunning technique will help you jump down past many encounters that you won't have to bother with these guys and immediately activate the Silent Cartographer. At this point, it's literally just about getting outside, and that's really it. Once you've gotten to this point, you pretty much saved enough ammunition to go ahead and push through the rest of the mission and go ahead and end it. Up next, we have the mission Assault on the Control Room. With the Assault on the Control Room, you immediately get attacked as soon as you head out of the Pelican. Use your D20 grenades, get a good set of weapons, and just push through at that point. For our run, we ended up having Flood that spawned with blunderbusses. We picked up their blunderbuss, and we were able to use this to not only kill enemies, but speed run a little bit, so it helped us out tremendously throughout the course of this mission. If at any given time you're given the opportunity to have D20s in this mission, try to get a blunderbuss and keep that bad boy, because this will help you even at the end of the mission. Once we exited the first area, we literally just skipped all the encounters until we got to the snow floor, because once you get to the snow floor, you'll have more D20s you can utilize, as well as a miniature Warhog that you can use to skip the entire snow section until you get to the next indoor section. Utilize the Warhog until you get to the next indoor section, and granted, you can't take it up because the elevator is not friendly with the Warhog. And at this point, it's literally just about pushing through these corridors with whatever weapons you've got from the D20 grenades. With the blunderbuss, you can skip many areas, such as this upcoming bridge encounter where you have the two bridges parallel with each other. We literally just skipped to the second bridge, and that skips a lot of the encounters for us. Easy, easy, easy. Once you've jumped onto the second bridge, you'll skip the encounter on the inside until you get to the hallway full of invisible elites. Inside of this hallway, you'll have an active camo on the left side tucked behind one of the little pillar light source things. There's an active camo in that hallway, just look for it, pick it up. You can use that to skip the hunters, and once you're on the bridge section, the enemies won't be attacking you immediately if you run there fast enough. If you happen to have gotten a blunderbuss by this point, use the blunderbuss to skip all the way to the control room building. And at this point, you literally have to open the door, kill the enemies inside of the door, and that's it. You finish Assault in the control room. 343 Guilty Spark is a very unique mission, as it's the only mission that the player starts with 4 grenades. Not only that, but you also spawn in front of a downed Pelican with like 5 more grenades as well. Literally just use these grenades to get yourself a good weapon or two. Like, if you don't have a good weapon at this point, either you have bad luck or you're doing something wrong. On top of that, you can basically skip this whole mission. The only part of this mission that you're required to get kills is once you're locked inside that room with the little popcorn guys. Granted, you gotta punch those guys, but that's basically it. For the rest of this mission, you're literally just gonna be skipping through hallways and doors and doing that until you get outside of the area. Once you're outside of the building, you'll meet up with the Marines, and because they have blunderbusses for Cursed Halo, they're able to stay alive longer, which helps you out more. Now you can go ahead and use your weapons to clear out all the flood inside of this area until the mission's over. So, very, very easy mission. Now, the library. Whew. This mission is a tricky one. Obviously, the flood can't be meleeed to death like the standard Covenant, as they take like 20 or 22 hits to kill. That's not an exaggerated number. It's ridiculous. And on top of that, you don't have very many D20s during the course of this entire mission. Now, there are some Flood that can drop some D20s once you kill them, but for this mission, doesn't seem to be as common as some others. But you will find a few dead bodies throughout the course of the library, so you can go ahead and pick up their D20s and use those to get some better weapons if you haven't gotten some already. When starting the mission, throw your first 2 D20s, just like your other missions. Get yourself a good weapon. Usually, if you have a a blunderbuss or any variant of the pistol, you'll be good to go for a majority of the mission, unless you don't have enough ammo. Again, you'll find a few D20s throughout the course of the mission. Another thing that'll help you complete the library is a couple of techniques that a lot of people use when playing on Legendary inside of this mission. If you want to go ahead and find out what these techniques are, it'd take too long to explain here, so click this link right here to go to my Legendary video of me completing the library. That way you guys can see these techniques and it'll save you a lot of ammunition inside of your weapons that you got from your D20. With that being said, utilize these skips and you'll finish the library. No struggle at all. It's actually a fairly easy mission that a lot of people tend to over-exaggerate about. D20s throw a couple of wrenches and things, but at the end of the day, if you get a good weapon, the mission will basically be complete. You just take it steady. Up next, we have 2 betrayals. This mission has the player being attacked once again from the start, but with more cover this time. With this one, you have 2 D20s that you can use, as well as 2 more on the right side of the control console. Use these to get some good weapons and just roll out. After exiting, there will be a ramp in front of the exit door that you can go up and pick up a few more D20s to ensure that you have some good weapons. And if you still don't have any good weapons from D20s, at the bottom of the control room building, you will have more D20s you can use on the left side of the building. Make sure you get some good weapons, get in that Banshee, and get to the first generator thing. Just don't kill anybody at the Banshee. It didn't come from a D20. The rest of this mission is self-explanatory, but there are a couple of things to note when doing this mission. For one, be very careful when using the D20 grenades inside of 2 betrayals. The loot pool is different inside 2 betrayals, and me and my stream noticed that nukes drop a lot on this mission. I have played this mission a lot on different runs in general of Cursed Halo, and nukes pop off the most inside of 2 betrayals. So whenever you're throwing a D20 grenade, make sure it's in close proximity with some sort of cover. As long as you're in cover that's like right next to the starting blast zone, it negates any damage from the nuke. So don't just be chucking D20s on the opposite side of the map. Another big thing to remember is if you ever at some point in time get the blunderbuss, be careful with it. Don't use it inside for skipping, and don't use it at the bridge encounter, as it completely just breaks 2 betrayals. The loading inside of 2 betrayals is just held together by duct tape. So if you start skipping around, it breaks the mission, it doesn't spawn enemies, and it doesn't spawn objectives, and clearly that's not good. Play it slow when it comes to 2 betrayals. And lastly, there will be a flying warhog you can find by this downed pelican near the second objective. Don't touch it. Don't use it. Don't touch it. Every single time I have used it, it has broken checkpoints after using the second generator. Maybe because it spawns next to the Banshees where the new Banshees come in. I don't know. Just don't touch the warhog. It's not worth your time. After you've completed 2 betrayals, you will now move on to the last mission, the mall, because for some reason Cursed Halo doesn't have the mission keys. I mean, I'm not complaining. We don't know why keys is in there, but it moves you straight to the mall. When starting the mall, you know the routine. Throw your grenades and get a good weapon to progress. The room before the cafeteria has a few extra D20s to throw and get better weapons that you can also use to not only get some good weapons, but you can also throw the D20s inside the cafeteria to clear out the Spec Ops elites that are in here. They're dangerous. You don't want to mess with them. Continue the mission normally until you arrive to the cryo bay. The top of this room has a couple more D20s you can throw and utilize to get through the hallway, because this hallway is the only infinite spawner inside of all of Halo CE. Do what you can to just push through this hallway. It's not worth just wasting ammo as the guys come through. It's not worth it. Now, the biggest problem of the run. The engine room! I hear you all shouting at your monitor as if I can perfectly hear what you guys are saying. Yes, the engine room is a problem. Obviously, you need an explosive to get rid of the engines, and it's hard to get the explosives when you can't use the plasma grenades or pick up a rocket off the ground. However, we have a couple of options. Here's the strat. Go to the armory. Once you're inside the armory, there's a couple of D20s on the floor you can utilize. Also, in the back of the room, there's a door that spawns Invisible Flood that damn near guarantee a D20 when these guys die. Just be sure to stay away from that door, as it doesn't spawn the guys all the time when you're near the door. Killing them will give you some D20s you can utilize as well, and throw these until you get either the Scarab gun or the rocket launcher. I get it, it's backwards, it's unintuitive, but it's still usable. In my particular run, I got the rocket launcher, I opened up the engines, and as the pipe moved to the back, I jumped inside of the engine and used that to level myself with the engine so I could easily shoot the vent, and it made the process a hell of a lot easier. I could easily retrieve the rocket launcher after firing at the engine's vent. With that being said, once you fired at all 4 vents, they're all good and cleared, you're basically done with the mission. All you have left is the Warhog run, which is pretty self-explanatory. Get a Warhog of your choice. Don't run over anyone. You're not done. You gotta make sure you don't run over anybody inside of the Warhog run. After that, you finish the mission and you have completed the D20 run inside of Cursed Halo. Congratulations, pat yourself on the back, you did good. Or if you're just watching this video, hit the like button. I need that pat on my back, please. This run was a lot of fun. Completely different and a nice breath of fresh air from all the seriousness that we've had Halo over all these years. I know it's a mod, but sometimes it's enjoyable to do something a little bit different, and because of the mod experience, it's nice to see they're experimenting when it comes to these sort of games. There's no problem with that at all, and I had a lot of fun doing this, and if you want to try this out for yourself, be sure to let me know and tell me how your run goes. Also, this run was done live, so if you want to interact with me when I do these things live, hit the notification bell when, yes, when, I believe in you, when you subscribe, because hitting the bell will inform you when my streams are up. If you can't rely on YouTube to inform you, then we have a Discord server full of great people that'll help you out as well, and they're just great people to talk to in general. I'll inform you on uploads inside of there as well, in case YouTube's notifications are too finicky for you. You can also personally contact me in Discord at any given time, so hit that link below to join my server. Also, don't ask about the name. With that out of the way, thank you all for watching Long Time, but not Hard Time, and I'll see you guys next time.